It's time to bring you yet another amazing episode. And now, welcome your host.
Now, personal development is about becoming a truer version of ourselves. Now, when we become a truer version of ourselves, we realize that there's so much bounties that life is always willing to offer us. This is the mission and the focus of Lawrence Omobola Stephen, focusing on personal development and self-improvement. And also we talk about spirituality topics, if I must tell you. Now, on Lawrence Omobola Stephen, we share disruptive yet constructive mindshift conversations and insights provided by experts and professionals who are adept in these topics that are going to transform your life 360 degree and move you from where you are to where you need to be. My name is Omobola Stephen. I'm the host of Flywheel by Omobola Stephen. Today, I have Christian Espinosa, who is the CEO, founder of Blue Goat Cyber, and a renowned thought leader on the show today. Now, we'll be talking about how we can improve on people's skills. Welcome to the show, Christian Espinosa.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
Thank you for joining me, Christian. And now this area of topic that I like us to explore is something that is so dear to my heart. And that is why I'm so much looking forward to having a great conversation with you today. And I know that my audience are also looking forward to say. So what do you really mean by the secure methodology? Can you share that with my audience?
What I mean by the EQ challenge?
No, what do you mean by the secure methodology?
Oh, the secure methodology, yes. So I created the secure methodology to fix some problems that I had in my first company. My first cybersecurity company, 99% of my problems were because my staff lacked emotional intelligence. They lacked people skills. They were super rationally intelligent, like high IQ, but low EQ or emotional intelligence, or almost no EQ. So the secure methodology is 7 steps I came up with to help my team develop those people skills, to add people skills to already highly intelligent people. And over the course of several years, I did a lot of training, a lot of work with my team, and what worked is what I wrote about in my book, The Smartest Person in the Room, and that's what the secure methodology is. I call it the secure methodology because I believe a lot of our challenges in life stem from insecurities. So if you can become secure with who you are, a lot of the challenges you have in life will sort of melt away, I believe.
Oh, right. That's good to know. So what skills do you think organizations should be looking at from their employees to drive success in the organizations? Because we are really particular about applying people's skills in the workplace, and also we're going to talk about how we can do so in the home.
Yeah, so the secure methodology has 7 steps, 7 overarching steps. The first step is awareness. It's really awareness of ourselves. We tend to be very good at pointing out other people's flaws, but not our own. We don't look in the mirror very often. So awareness of ourselves, and I'm certified in NLP. I'm an NLP, neuro-linguistic programming master practitioner. So I talk about NLP concepts in the book. And one of the concepts from an awareness perspective that's important to understand is we are basically programmed to run certain behaviors. And if there's a stimulus, we automatically run that behavior. And often that behavior is not serving us. So an example could be somebody says something a specific way and you automatically get defensive. And then you get in a big argument. So the idea is to have the awareness about that trigger, the program you run, which is your behavior, and figure out a way to change that if it's not serving you. So instead of getting defensive, maybe you could get curious and ask that person a question rather than you get upset, which results in an argument. So having the awareness of those triggers, how to change that behavior is extremely important. And that's step 1. Step 2 is about mindset. There are really 2 types of mindset, 2 groups. There's a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. With a growth mindset, you believe your brain is malleable. You can change your behavior. You are capable of learning new things. A lot of people have a fixed mindset where they just believe their brain is hardwired. They believe they're just the way they are. And if you think you're just the way you are, then you're always going to get the same results in life because you're not evolving. You have to change to get different results. You have to become more to attract more. So a growth mindset is really what we want to have. The third step is acknowledgement. As a leader, and just a leader myself, I think leadership starts with self, as well as leading other people. I think it's important to acknowledge how far we've come. For me, I'm very hard on myself, or I used to be. I'm better at it. So I had a hard time acknowledging my accomplishments or my achievements, which meant I had a hard time acknowledging them for my team. I remember standing at the Ironman triathlon, the World Championship triathlon in 2005. I just went there to watch the race. I stood on the finish line, and I have a picture of myself on the finish line. I told myself someday I'll do that race. In 2015, I actually finished the race. And I remember crossing the finish line, and I was automatically thinking about the next big goal to accomplish. I never took a second to like appreciate the 10-year journey that it took me to get there. So I realized at that point, if I can't appreciate something that took me 10 years, I'm probably not doing well with my staff, and I'm probably not serving myself either, because it's important to celebrate some of the victories in life as well. So those are the first three steps. The fourth step is communication. In NLP, there's a presupposition that says the meaning of communication is the response you get. So if you're not getting the response that you would like from the other person, the ownership shifts back to you to alter how you communicate. What most of us do is just blame the other person. We just say, well, they just don't get it. They're not smart enough. We're not on the same page, instead of altering how we communicate so the message lands with the other person. And that's a really big one. I think, at least in my industry, I hear people say, well, they just don't get it when they're talking to a client, but the client needs to get it in order to become more secure from a cybersecurity perspective. The fifth step is monotasking. It is the opposite of multitasking. I think we live in a very distraction-filled world where everybody multitask, and they're very busy but not very productive, and they're annoying to be around. If you monotask, it makes you productive. You do something with concentrated effort for an hour block, for instance, and that means when you're with somebody, you're actually present. Today, I see couples at dinner, they're both on their cell phone. They're not present with each other. And I wonder, like, is this relationship actually fulfilling for them? Because if somebody pulls out their cell phone while I'm having a conversation with them and starts looking at their cell phone, I'm just going to start talking. So monotasking helps with presence, which helps with relationships, and it helps make you much more productive. Multitasking is a waste of time. The sixth step is empathy. In our society today, there's so much division that everyone sees another human being as a different, like, faction almost. Like, there's, in the United States, we got the Republicans, the Democrats, we got with COVID, pro-vaccine, anti-vaccine. And when you see people separate from yourselves as like a different group, it's hard to be empathetic. For me, a case that I witnessed this was a couple years ago. I developed blood clots in my left leg. I developed 6 of them and almost didn't make it. And I was in super good shape. I'd done 24 Ironman triathlons, worked out all the time. So I didn't think things like that happened to people like me. And I was at the hospital, and when the doctor told me I had 6 blood clots, I didn't know what blood clots meant. So I asked him, I was like, well, what does that mean? He said, it means I could die or have a stroke at any moment. So I kind of freaked out. I was there by myself. My nearest family member was like 800 miles away. And I started like silently crying, and like images of my life went through my head. Like, man, it might be over. Did I live a good life? Did I, take risks? Did I love? Did I ultimately matter? And he saw me freaking out, and he said something I'll never forget. He told me, sort of in a dismissive way, he's like, oh, don't worry. I see this all the time. And I kind of snapped out of my feeling sorry for myself. And I was like, you know what? I don't see this all the time. This is a first for me. I think he was trying to be empathetic or compassionate. But again, there was that division. It's like, he thought, I'm the doctor, this is the patient, versus, I just delivered some pretty bad news or devastating news to a fellow human being. Maybe I should approach this differently versus, doctor, patient. And like I said, it's hard to be empathetic when you see yourself separate from somebody. And then the last step is Kaizen. Kaizen is a Japanese word that means continuous and never-ending improvement or constant improvement. With any of these steps I just mentioned or anything in life, it's important to realize that incremental progress is what matters. We're not going to master something overnight. We're not going to change our behavior overnight. We're not going to become better at relationships or better at business overnight. It's important to just realize the incremental changes are what matters. And we might make a misstep. We might take a step in a slightly wrong direction, but now we know that's not the right direction. So embracing that concept of Kaizen gives you the courage. I feel it gives you the courage to take the first step because you realize you may not get it right the first time, but learning along the process is what matters.
Great insight to share there, Christian. Thanks for that. But really, let's talk on some factors that can affect how people interact with others. I know that's also very important. Can you share that with my audience, please?
Some which factors?
Yes, I'd like us to talk about few factors that can affect how people interact with others.
Some of the factors I think are being too self-absorbed. I think like when you're interacting with a fellow teammates or relationships, what I've noticed is if you're thinking about everything through your lens, then versus the other person's lens or model the world, it's hard to build that relationship or grow that relationship. I think it's important to understand that not everyone thinks like you. For me, this is a process I had to go through. I used to get frustrated because I'm very, I don't know, type A is the right word. I'm hyper focused on achieving things or achieving goals. And I would get frustrated when people didn't see the world the same way I did. But I realized later on that it's better that people don't see the world the same way I do because I could have a team of people. We all see through a little bit different lens, which makes us much more capable than if everyone was like me.
Right. All right. So, Billy, let's talk personal here. What is the most difficult thing you've had to overcome, Christian?
There's a lot of difficult things I've overcome. I would say the blood clots were pretty difficult for me. I mentioned the story where I was told I had the blood clots, but basically my life as I knew it was over. I used to do Ironman triathlon, climb mountains, travel a lot. And that day they told me I had those 6 blood clots. They said I could not do any of those things. I couldn't travel. I couldn't get on an airplane. I couldn't run. I couldn't do any exercise really. I could just sit around in the basement basically and take blood thinners. So I just remember sitting in my car afterwards and kind of watch people walk in and out of the hospital. I was just crying, thinking, "Man, this is it. I don't. My whole life, from as I've known it, is over." So I went through a pretty big bout of depression after that. I just sat around, and at first I was grateful that I was alive, but then I slowly started feeling trapped and caged because I didn't want to live a life that way. So one day I was looking at the bottle of blood thinners, which uh, I had to pay a lot of money for because now I had a pre-existing condition. And I just like threw them across the room and decided to get every blood test possible done on my blood to see if I could figure out what was going on. Uh, and there was no factors. I also got a Doppler ultrasound of my leg to make sure there's no more, clots going to break off. And that decision allowed me to change my perspective on life. I feel like I took control of my life again because the reality is the doctors or nobody cares about your life more than you. So that was my time to take agency over my own life. And when I made that decision, it gave me confidence to start a new business. So I started Blue Goat Cyber after that. But that bout of going from grateful to trapped and getting out of that was super difficult for me because my life is on the line. but I felt like my life was on the line as well, because if I just sat around and didn't do the things I wanted to do, it wouldn't be a very fulfilling life for me.
So invariably, do you advise people to always embrace or welcome challenges when it comes?
I think people need to ask themselves what their intentions are, what their goals are in life. I think most of us in life know what we don't want, but very few people know what they do want in life. So I think the first thing is to develop some clarity on what you do want in life. Like, what do you want your relationship to look like? What do you want your health to look like? What do you want your wealth to look like? And then if that challenge comes up and it's in alignment with what you want or help get you there, then I certainly recommend embracing it. For me, I've done a lot of challenging things which have built resilience in business and in life. I think resilience is important. It's an important skill to have. Um, but where I want to go with my business, my relationship, and my health, I need that resilience. So I take on those challenges because I know it's something, a skill that I need to further develop.
Uh, Good to know that. Christian, you are a mountain climber. You are also an avid adventurer. Now, really, how does a person find themselves, the sense of adventure?
For me, I like to, I guess, live on the edge. I like to do adventurous things. It makes me feel like I'm embracing life. Uh, and it's not for everybody, but like climbing mountains is is very rewarding for me. It's like one of the hardest things I've done because it's, you carry a heavy pack, you're going up altitude, you're going up steep slopes. Um, but it's also a lot of teamwork. You typically climb a mountain with a team, so it's a good team building exercise, and it's a good exercise in managing risk and building that resilience, like I mentioned. So I get bored easily. I like to learn new things and I like to push myself. And not just in like business, but in pretty much all aspects of my life. So for me, doing adventurous things helps fulfill those areas that I know are sought out, sought out by my soul, essentially. And that's why, when I couldn't do any of those things, or I was told I couldn't, when I had the blood clots, it was, such a depressing state for me because sitting around watching reruns of, TV is not the life I want to live. It's not my vision.
But really, I'd like you to tell my audience how they can really find their adventure. Because some people are not like you, as I said. That's how you find your own adventure. In outdoors, and because you don't like being bored. But for those who are out there who really want to find a sense of adventure, how can they begin to do that? Or where can they find that?
I think it's relatively easy today. I mean, you can go on like a meetup group and find local groups or a Facebook group of people that hike, for instance. If you want to think, well, maybe I want to get into hiking or camping. There's all these YouTube videos. There's lots of groups out there that you can join on Facebook or a meetup group and meet people that are doing that, and they will welcome you into the group. So you don't have to do it alone. I think that's a lot of people's fear is I've got to do this stuff alone, or my spouse doesn't want to do it. And it's also figuring out what you like to do. So for me, like I've had to come to terms like I'm okay not doing Ironman triathlon right now. I'm kind of interested in like go-karting and driving fast cars and like shooting guns and different things. Uh, and I just decided like I'm going to embrace that and try to learn like how to drive a F4 Formula 4 car, um, and learn all I can about that. So that's something I've shifted to. But I think we all have something that we want to do in life, adventurous. Some people have always wanted to go kayaking, go hiking, do a half marathon, um, go skydiving, and the way I look at it is what's holding you back from doing it now? Because I always look at things through the lens of if I'm on my deathbed and about to take my last breath, do I have regrets? And the answer is no. And I look at my decisions as I want to make sure that answer is always no, because you never know when your life is going to be over. So if someone is thinking about doing a new adventure or something they've always wanted to do, I would suggest they ask themselves, am I going to have regrets if I don't do this? And if the answer is yes, maybe you should consider doing it or finding a way to do it.
Christian, your latest book, The In Between, Life in the Micro, what inspires you to write that?
That book was inspired by a lot of reflection on my life where I got so focused on like this macro goal, this big goal, that I kind of put blinders on and I let relationships fall apart that I was with. I didn't take care of my health the way I should have. I didn't manage my wealth the way I should have because I was so focused on this big goal. So it's about balancing chasing a big dream with also looking at what's right in front of you, which I call the micro moments, and showing up with intention in those moments. Because what I realized is sometimes if you don't get as hyper focused on a big goal and show up with intention in the moment right in front of you, you might be informed like that goal is no longer important to me. Or, you know, this moment right here is more important than that goal. And it's that balance. But for me, I would get so focused on a goal that I would be like my identity would be tied to it, and I'd have to achieve it no matter what. Even though in some cases I didn't even want to do that thing anymore. It was just like I had to do it because that's who I am, sort of thing. So it's about balancing what's right in front of you and chasing that big goal. It's not about just wandering around smelling the roses all the time. It's having some intention in your life.
Thank you once again, Christian Espinosa, for sharing that insight with my audience. Do you have any exciting news in the pipeline you think it's going to be super beneficial to the audience of the show? This is the time for you to do that. If there's any, you can share.
Yeah, I've got a new book. I should be coming out here in a few months. It's about the story we tell ourselves. We all have this story we tell ourselves, and sometimes that story, more often than not, holds us back. So that's something, a project I'm working on that will be coming out later on. And I have also got a course. We talked about the secure methodology earlier. You can take that course on my website, christianespinosa.com. It's a course that aligns with my book, The Smartest Person in the Room. It goes through those 7 steps I mentioned, and it has exercises for each of them as well.
Right. Thank you once again, Christian Espinosa. Can you share your social media handles, if any, so my audience can connect?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. My books are available on Amazon. They're also available on Audible, so you can listen to them. And my website, my personal brand website is christianespinosa.com. And then my company is bluegoatcyber.com.
Absolutely good to know. Thank you once again, Christian Espinosa, for sharing your thoughts. So now we can improve people's skills. Really had a great time, especially you sharing the secure methodology, the 7 steps, and how we can get it right, especially in the area of communication. At the end of the day, it all boils down to communication, effective communication. Really wish you best of luck in all the projects that you embark upon, Christian.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
All right. It's been Lawali Omobola, Stephen. Good to have you on the show. And also having Christian share his expertise on this important topic about improving on people's skills. If you'd like to catch up with any missed episodes of the show, you can do so on any course promotion platforms or any podcast distribution platforms online, and do have a great time. I need you always to stay safe. I talk to you soon. Bye for now. Thank you, Christian. That was a great show.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you subscribe and leave us a review.